Have you ever just stood there, looked up at a huge plane flying overhead and thought to yourself, how in the world does that work? Well, today we're going to dig into exactly that. We're talking the science, the tech, and the wild history that lets us cruise at 30,000 feet. So let's get into it.
Okay, let's just start with a number that is kind of hard to believe. 1,500 miles per hour. That is more than twice the speed of sound. And no, this isn't some sci-fi movie concept. It's the real deal top speed for the fastest jets out there. It makes you realize, wow, this is by far the fastest way to get around on this planet.
But, hitting speeds like that, it's not simple. It takes an unbelievably complex machine to pull it off. So what are the key parts? What's really going on under the hood that makes a modern jet, well, a modern jet? Let's take a look.
When you peek inside a modern jet, it really boils down to two huge things. First, you've got these super sophisticated electronic controls. They call it fly-by-wire, that are basically the plane's nervous system. They're making thousands of tiny adjustments every second to keep the flight smooth and stable. And second, the plane itself is built out of these amazing materials, composites and alloys, that are both ridiculously strong and incredibly light. That combination is absolutely essential to even get off the ground.
So, you've got the smart electronics and the lightweight body. But that still doesn't answer the biggest question of all. How does a giant metal tube weighing hundreds of tons actually defy gravity? This is where we have to get into the basic physics of it all.
I mean, it's the question everyone has, right? You're sitting at the airport, looking out at a massive plane, and it just seems impossible. It feels like it shouldn't work. But it all comes down to mastering one fundamental force of nature.
And the magic word is lift. It's all about the shape of the wing. See, the wing is curved on top, and it's also tilted up just a little bit. This shape makes the air have to travel faster over the top of the wing compared to the bottom. And that difference in speed creates a difference in pressure. Lower pressure on top, higher pressure on the bottom. And that higher pressure underneath literally pushes the plane up. Once that upward push, that lift, is stronger than the downward pull of gravity, you're flying.
Okay, so lift gets you airborne. But that's really only half the battle, isn't it? You can't just be a leaf on the wind. To actually get from point A to point B, you need to have precise control to turn, to climb, to descend. And that's where the pilot comes in. Up in the cockpit, the pilot is working with three main controls. You've got the throttle, which is pretty much like the gas pedal in your car. It controls engine power and speed. Then there are the rudder pedals, down at their feet. Those steer the nose of the plane left and right, which is called yaw. And finally, you have the control column, or the yoke, which you use to roll the plane from side to side and to pitch the nose up or down. Mastering how those three work together, well, that's the art of flying.
All of this amazing technology, it didn't just pop up out of nowhere. Every single person who flies today owes a huge thank you to the daredevils and the innovators who risked it all to figure this stuff out. We are, without a doubt, standing on the shoulders of giants.
Just think about that for a second. Every single airplane in the sky, from the smallest propeller plane to the fastest supersonic jet, it all traces its history, its DNA, back to one single pivotal moment. The moment that proved that powered, controlled flight wasn't just a fantasy.
And here are two of the absolute biggest milestones. In 1903, of course, the Wright brothers made history. Their big breakthrough wasn't just getting into the air. It was figuring out how to control the plane on three axes: pitch, roll, and yaw. That was the game changer. And then, get this, just 44 years later, we took another giant leap. Chuck Yeager strapped himself into a rocket-powered plane and became the first human to fly faster than the speed of sound, breaking a barrier a lot of people thought was physically impossible.
Let that sink in. In less than one person's lifetime, humanity went from a clunky 12-second flight on a windy beach to literally outrunning the speed of sound. It's truly one of the most incredible periods of technological progress in all of human history, all driven by pure genius and guts.
So that brings us to now. We've pretty much mastered flight within our atmosphere. We've been to the moon. As we look forward, you just have to wonder, after more than 100 years of mind-blowing innovation, what's the next great barrier for us to break in the sky? What's next?